Hello there, it's Friday the 2nd of March, 14 minutes to 8 a.m. here in Australia, my latest video blog. What I want to talk about today is centralised exchanges versus decentralised exchanges. Now, just this week we saw Goldman Sachs purchase Poloniex for 400 million. And last year it was all this FUD around JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs talking about how cryptocurrencies is not going to go anywhere, and it's all got the potential of going to zero. And I think I even saw that statement in an article this week, and it was pretty much released 1 or 2 days after Goldman Sachs has bought Poloniex for 400 million. So there's a lot of FUD and a lot of fake news going around. And there's no doubt the big bankers are getting their hands all over the infrastructure, and whether that's through the exchanges or through some of the gateways and intermediaries between the cryptocurrencies and the final point of call, so the banking systems. Obviously there's fees and there's some premiums that are being obviously extracted from the process of moving funds in and out of the space. Now, in regards to actually being able to purchase cryptocurrencies and tokens, it's really been up to the individual to work out how to actually do that. There's been obviously some centralized platforms such as Bittrex and Poloniex and Binance, and then we've got some of the decentralized platforms such as the BitShares DEX, and there's ForkedDelta, and there's ForkedDelta, and there's a couple of others coming through, and there's talk about KuCoin, and I think there's what's the other one? Icon, and then there's talk about integrating exchanges into some smart wallets, and there's a whole heap of things evolving in the space in regards to being able to get access to cryptocurrencies and being able to buy them with fiat currency and being able to move fiat currency into and out of exchanges. But the big thing I think in regards to mass adoption is there's a big gap between the education process and the confidence to be able to purchase these particular cryptocurrencies. And some people aren't even diving into the space because they're just not sure how to do it. I mean, here in Australia, I use what we call CoinJar, and that is essentially just a Bitcoin-focused cryptocurrency wallet or an exchange, and it's very, very reliable. And they have actually added Litecoin and not Dash, Litecoin, Ripple, and there was another one. So it's broadened its scope, but it's still very, very narrow. Now, it is pretty easy to move fiat currency from my bank into CoinJar, but if I want to have access to the other 2, 3, 4, 500, up to I think there's 1,000 cryptocurrencies out there, you've got to go and find these different exchanges and find the ones that are actually delivering the cryptocurrency that you're interested in. Now, the big issue I have found even in the last few months or so is that things like ForkedDelta are having some issues with their API, or just the functionality of the platform seems to be suffering. BitShares is an amazing application, it's an amazing wallet, it's an amazing bit of technology. However, the liquidity and the traffic that's going through the actual platform is fairly narrow, and it still doesn't have the depth that I'm looking for. However, you can pick up some real bargains in some of these places because people do tend to shell their portfolios for undervaluing their cryptocurrencies. You can pick up a bargain here and there. But in saying that, there's a lot of exchanges coming out. Are we going to see a dilution of cryptocurrency exchanges? Some of the big ones that got in early markets, such as Bittrex and Binance and HipBTC, and some of the Korean exchanges are obviously doing really well, and there's Coinbase. I think there's even CoinSpot here in Australia. There's slightly different versions of what we would call an exchange, but there's a lot of centralization around them. And what happens with centralization, obviously there's a dictation of fees. There's also a dictation of what cryptocurrencies we have access to. And you do get familiar with different platforms, and I find that I tend to use Bittrex and Binance a little bit more than I would some of the others, maybe because there's coins there that I'm interested in, but I think it's just more of a familiarity and a confidence, because it does take a little bit of time to sort of work your way around a new platform, work out where all the buttons are, have confidence of actually moving money in and out. You always get a little bit nervous at the beginning of these journeys. So what I wanted to do is just talk about another one that's coming up, and it's called Streamity. Because I have been, obviously now, like I've said, ForkedDelta and ForkedDelta and some of these others are having some issues. There's a massive opportunity for some decentralized exchanges to come through and take some of the attention away and some of the community focus. Now, what Streamity is doing is essentially going to be launching their STM Token, a decentralized cryptocurrency exchange. Very, very traditional version. But what caught my attention is they're going to be focusing on the education process, which is going to lead people from the people who haven't yet entered the market, and bring these people through with a whole heap of resources. And that's what's lacking on Binance. It's lacking on Bittrex. It's lacking on some of these other platforms. There's a lack of confidence. There's a lack of information. There's no tutorials and step-by-step processes on how to get involved. And I think if cryptocurrencies is going to take the world by storm in the sense of mass adoption, there has to be gateways and a process to bring these people through. So I've just opened up a few pages on Streamity. I'm just going to run through some highlighted paragraphs and some information that I've come across. Now, I did actually open up ForkedDelta. Here's the ForkedDelta. Now, I didn't really totally engage with ForkedDelta when I first got into it, because it was a bit clunky. It's probably the word I use, and it's a little bit slow. It's based on smart contracts. Sometimes you see people make massive mistakes on here where they get the details into the wrong fields and either sell their cryptocurrencies for a bargain or vice versa. And I think it has had some issues. I don't know if they're actually resolved yet. I think there's a message here saying it's back online and trading has resumed. So obviously confidence takes a little bit of time, and I'm sure that liquidity would have been hammered for the last month or so that ForkedDelta's had issues. And same with ForkedDelta. It looks like it's having issues. I might have to update my DNS and things like that, but I've never used it, and I probably won't use it, because it's one of those things you do build confidence on certain platforms. Now, the big thing, like I was talking about, was the educational process of bringing normal people who have not yet entered the space through to the exchanges, and being able to buy their first Bitcoin or being able to buy their first alternative coin. And on this website I did pull up a little bit of, and I think this is the big thing. It can't be just up to us YouTubers, and I have helped heaps of people, probably about 10 people, all the way from setting up their laptop and their USBs and their passwords and passphrase and making backup copies. And it has taken 1, 2, 3 hours, and then there's some follow-up hours of information where I show them how to get onto an exchange, and then there's KYC, know your customer, getting your information approved on the different platforms. So it is a very big process at the moment. However, what I'm looking at for Streamity is the fact that if they can actually get the process of education in a format that people understand and actually builds confidence, you may find that it will improve their own liquidity, but it may actually improve the space. I do think that decentralized platforms are going to be the future. I think everyone wants to see that open format. They're going to be focusing on smart contracts, so there's a lot of clarity and a lot of transparency between the arrangements you make between the seller and the buyer. What else have I got here? Another page. There's a little video here. I thought I might just play that for you. Here we go.
Cryptocurrency market is one of the fastest growing and promising markets in the world right now. However, even today, customers do not understand how to properly convert cryptocurrency into fiat money fast and safe. There are a lot of cryptocurrency exchange services, but their commissions are highly overvalued. They lack security and scale. Moreover, these services are too difficult to use. Streamdesk is a person-to-person platform based on smart contract cryptocurrency exchange. Streamdesk will be a unique and fully automatic service with minimal commission and fair market price. Smart contracts will guarantee the perfect security, and the transactions of traditional currency will be conducted directly between users with the reception of the official signal from the payment system. This signal will serve as a warrant to unblock the smart contract. Streamdesk unites and protects its users.
And I think that's a good message. Anyone is familiar with smart contracts, if you're new to the space, you need to understand that smart contracts is part of blockchain. It's not on all of the blockchains, but Ethereum in particular has pretty much built its reputation based on the ability to utilize smart contracts, and that's why it's got so many decentralized applications being built on top of the platform. And like I said, I do think that these type of platforms are going to do well in the future, and if they can provide the security and the confidence and the education, and not only that, I want to see more access to certain coins. I mean, there are a number of coins on Bittrex that you don't find on Binance, and vice versa. And then there's other platforms that are holding, I think, valid projects, and it can be a bit of a pain in the bum that you've got to go and actually sign up to all these different platforms. It'd be nice to be able to have full access to all of the approved tokens, and there might be maybe an approval process of some sort that needs to verify the validity of the project, and I think that there should be some community-driven regulation based around that, and I think over time that's going to come through anyway. There's a one-pager that I came across. Now, I want to talk about the advantages. Now, Streamdesk is going to be the name of their platform. Streamity, I think, is more the entity or the team. Now, it's going to be a mass service, and they're focusing on the connection of new users, and this will create a strong demand for the STM tokens. Now, STM token is their internal token. It's going to be a utility token. It's going to be used as an exchange, and also to cover fees and a membership fee. Moreover, the tokens will be openly traded on the main cryptocurrency exchange market. So just like on Binance, Binance has got their own Binance coin. You can utilize that, and it actually increases in value, but it's also used for fees. STM token is also going to be utilized for that, as well as like I said, a membership fee. Now, they're also going to be able to transform cryptocurrency into fiat currency through Streamdesk, which will make it much more profitable than using other means and services. This will ensure access of new users to our platform, and that is a major issue at the moment, is being able to move fiat currencies over into an exchange with a little bit more, with a little bit more transparency. And I think without that middleman at the moment, I'm going through 2 or 3 portals just to get to the exchange. However, I do believe it's going to come down to jurisdiction as well, depending on where you live. In Australia, we're pretty fortunate that the banks have been rather supportive, but they've also cut some of the fiat currencies from some of the platforms that haven't met certain criteria. And that's just the regulatory process starting to come through. And I think that's only a good thing. What else have I got here? Now, I did jump into the white paper because I wanted to know a little bit more about the STM token. How's it going to be used? Because I do believe in the future, the platforms that have a token and have a functionality or a utility are probably going to do a little bit better than the platforms that have a very sterile, static token that has no greater purpose. Now, what Streamdesk is going to be doing, they're going to be monetizing their STM, and you'll be able to buy particular packages, so everything from basic, silver, gold, platinum, brilliant, and unlimited, and that's going to allow different levels of exchange. So if you want to trade $1 million or more, you'll have to pay a certain membership fee relative to that amount of money. So it's obviously it's going to support a little bit of what would you call a bit of confidence, a little bit of security as well, but it also creates a little bit of liquidity of the STM token and gets it moving and flowing through the network. So you can always jump on the white paper and have a look, and I always suggest that. It is very, probably shows a little bit of due diligence to get in here and do what you need to do. What else have I got? Back on here. Now, there's obviously some infographics, so I'm not going to go through how this actually works, but it's always nice to see and try to get an understanding of how these particular decentralized blockchain applications are going to tick and how they're going to flow, especially in regards to the process of smart contracts and how they're going to be regulated and how they're going to be withheld on the platform, because that's pretty much the main process on the exchange. That's where all our money is held. It's in those agreements. What else have I got? So in regards to the token functions, just here, the Streamity token, STM, is the key element of the Streamity medium. The STM is the internal currency of the project. It means that all services of the project are expected to be paid just in STM. So that'll be the fees, it'll be the memberships, and I think what you'll find with certain levels of membership, obviously the fees are reduced, so it might be 2%, then 1.5% down to 1%, and then you can actually, if you pay the full amount, and you can pay in advance. Right? I did read a little paragraph. You can pay years in advance. So if Streamity becomes your chosen platform, you can buy up, and you'll reduce your fees, and I think you can reduce them all the way down to zero, which sounds interesting. I think anyone would like to leverage their capacity to reduce fees. Now, this particular team looks like they're from Russia, from what I am gathering, but I'm just guessing based on their name. I need to have a little look into where they're from. But again, this shows you the worldwide nature of blockchain. We've got teams from all the way around the world. We've got the Asian teams, we've got the Northern European teams. Here in Australia, we're starting to leverage some blockchain. And actually, to be honest, we haven't done as many new startups as I thought. I mean, there's Sping. There was another one called Ozcoin, which got a bit of bad press the other week, and there's not too many. But whereas the Europe and the Asian market seems to be leading the way, even Russia has got heaps of awesome projects coming out. Now, on the roadmap, I always like to, if you're going to invest, and this is not investment advice, this is just information based on blockchain technology and decentralized exchanges. However, if there is a particular technology or a DApp or an application, it's always nice to see a working product. And they're talking about launching the Stream Desk in Q1, which is coming up. We're almost at the end of it. So I'd like to see a beta or maybe an alpha come out. Obviously, the alpha would be over time, once they've worked through some bugs and got some functionality and got some feedback from the community. So they're talking about having something coming out within the next couple of months or months. At the moment, they've got the ICO, and it's going to go for a period of time, and they're going to be raising funds to support the development of the technology. So this is just a little infographic. So it's very, very simple. This is the one of the other main aspects of blockchain. One of the greatest benefits is how easy some of these applications can be. And it's not just the ease, it's actually the speed and the transfer of the information. And I've been talking a lot about BitShares and even Steam or Steemit, and then you've got some of the ones like EOS that are going to come out. They're going to be delivering 100,000 transactions a second, really, really fast. I think Digibyte's really, really fast. People don't even understand the power of Digibyte. Digibyte's scaling up based on the mass adoption of the actual platform. So you'll find it's going to get faster and faster and faster every year, up to a certain point where I think they're talking about 230,000 transactions a second. Now, I think Visa at the moment is about 2,500. So you can see, you imagine that 230,000 people are all about to press the button at the same time. Platforms like Digibyte and these type of amazing technologies are going to be able to handle that information. And it's very seamless and very simple. There's a buyer, there's going to be an order via the smart contract, then it goes through the actual system, and then there's a very, very simple payment system, smart contract, and then that money is exchanged to the seller. Very, very, very easy, and anyone that's built their confidence using some of these decentralized applications will know that it's not as hard as it looks, and it's not that complicated. It's very, very fast, and your confidence does rise when you see the speed of these particular technologies. So that's all I wanted to share, was the advantages of decentralized over centralized. I think centralized always has a level of dictatorship We're out of control. Sometimes there's an advantage of a centralisation. There seems to be a little bit more money being invested in the projects. Maybe the team's a little bit more focused on the development of their brand, whereas decentralised tends to be a bit more community driven. However, Streamity has got a team. They'll benefit from developing their product via, obviously, the token incentives that they've set up, part of their structure. And I think that there's going to be a bit of duality. There's going to be a place for centralised. There's going to be a place for decentralised. And as I said at the beginning of the video, Goldman Sachs has already gone and put their money in. But straight away, that's sort of, I've never used Poloniex, and now that Goldman Sachs is sort of in there, I don't know, I don't really want to support that whole, empire thing where they just go and buy up everything. And that's the power of money in capitalism. Once you're at the top, you tend to go and buy and obtain all the technologies that allows you to have greater market share. Whereas decentralized, you can't buy it. It's open source technology, and it's pretty much community driven. And that's what I have been a real big ambassador of in regards to blockchain. I'd like to see it not only in regards to crypto exchanges, I'd like to see it in regards to governmental administration. I'd like to see it in all sorts of jurisdiction and independence and encryption and privacy, all these amazing potential and opportunities that are within the space. So that's it. I'm going to keep it simple. Let me know what you think. Follow me on my Steemit. I do tend to do a little bit of a blog and take some of the screenshots. So it's there as a reference if you want to come back to it and have a look at the video. It's obviously on YouTube. It's also on my website. I'm off to Egypt on Sunday, so I'll probably have a bit of a break from this, but I'm going to be sharing some videos and some photos on my Steemit and on my Facebook page and in my Crypto Nuts Insights, just to make them a little bit jealous of my journey through Africa and obviously Egypt, and having a look at the amazing pyramids. And I've got 14 days with an amazing scientific crew. I've always wanted to go. It's on my hit list, and I'm finally doing it. And I booked it spontaneously last year, and it's probably one bit of advice I can give. If there's something you really want to do in life, sometimes you just got to dive in and try to work out the details later. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and tune in to my next video.